Yes, welcome back to the show. It's getting more interesting. Nigerians in diaspora have taken it upon themselves to post all sorts and incite so many people against the candidate, the president-elect, and of course, even preparing for this coming election. So I'm asking the question from Mr. Akifatuke, our dear guest this morning and the last guest on the segment on the show. Mr. Akifatuke is a fellow of the Chartered Institute of the Institute of Chartered Accountants of Nigeria, and I love how he communicates with the world. So I like to call him a communication specialist. Good morning, and thanks for coming on the show.
Thank you very much, Tobias. It's nice to be here. My dear brother in
Orange, red. Red.
But there is absolutely no danger about him. These are the Soke
He's speaking loudly this morning. He's speaking loud. All right.
Nice to have me here. Good morning.
I know that you're not unaware of the many issues that have come up as a result of social media posts, social media flash, social media whatever drama before and after this election. I used to think that Nigerians in diaspora were supposed to be much more, maybe much more responsible in the way and manner they disseminate information that they are not physically privy to. What exactly is the problem that we're facing?
Yeah, we must face what I like to describe as the brass tacks. We must continually not be looking at the effects. We'll get back to the cause. The truth is, our diasporans, just like many Nigerians, are not happy. Things are not the way they should be in Nigeria. Absolutely no doubt about that. And when Raji Fashola now then said, okay, yeah, we hear you, but it's not going to be by anger. A lot of our youths are not able to control these aspects of anger. I must say that I recognize the fact that Generation X, Generation Z, have a right to be angry. Those of us who are middle class and ancestors, I think that's what we are called. But we have a right to be angry. So if Wole Soyinka had said so many moons ago that he belongs to a wasted generation, that speaks a lot. We need to therefore now try to understand the anger, do something about the anger, begin to live by example, and then what? Making sure that you douse. I liken it to the osmosis theory. High concentration, low concentration will normally move in a particular direction. Having said that, is it therefore right for us to begin to spew so many inanities on social media? I listened to your last guest that was here, and very erudite, and he was mentioning the point of logic and law. It should be, because if you don't have rules, procedures, and laws, you are going to have nothing but anarchy. And we seem to be going to anarchy. Why are we going to anarchy? Not necessarily because he's wearing, crimson and I'm wearing something of crimson. It's just that the institutions and the process have not been followed in the way they should have been followed. And, as a communicator, I always say, communicate. Communicate and see. For the blind, it cannot hear. And for the deaf, it cannot see. Communicate and repeat that communication so well that you either do it in your local language. I said it before, didn't you hear? Okay, I'm repeating it. Can you repeat after me what I have said? That is the principle of communication. And if that has not happened, you will now get yourself into a gulch, a deep abyss of what we are now experiencing. Talking about diasporans, let's give it to the diasporans though. There are two legs to it. At the last count, I think they said about 17 million in diaspora. And the kind of returns they make back to the economy is gone into trillions when it converts to naira. It dwindled during the COVID era. And it's about getting back. The diaspora have been people who have been reaching out to theirs here in the village, Western Union, all this kind of transfer. But they have been deprived by the Constitution, which says that they cannot vote. There was a court case that eventually put paid to that to say, look, for now you cannot vote because the Constitution does not recognize that you should vote. That in itself is causing a lot of anger. So when you now don't have that anger and then you displace that anger, what the hell? Begin to point some kind of very interesting attention to your country. It's most unfortunate. We need to engage them. We need to make sure that at the end of the day, it's still the same country we are looking at. I can understand when the Kerimadu was out there and people were, throwing darts and stones. You have stolen from Nigeria, go back to Nigeria. President Muhammadu Buhari was there, same thing. And a few days ago at the Nigerian embassy in the UK, they also were chanting a particular candidate. We want this, we want that. That belies the rule of law and process. You can be angry, you can be frustrated, against the tide of things in Nigeria, but still have to go through a particular process. And I have a fear. And my fear is what Alhaji Lai Mohammed and the President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria have been trying to, a particular bullet they are trying to dodge, saying the same thing perhaps in different languages. And that is the fact that the social media will have to be regulated. I am for reasonable regulation. When self-regulation fails, and if you are not careful, they know that as much as some of us do, and much more than what a number of
us do,
that should be the process. A number of them came physically to come and vote in this election.
Mr. Fatinke, apart from them coming, I remember that shortly before the election, there was this young man, I can't remember if it was in Sweden now, who was arrested. And it was made public that he was arrested because he was the one ordering the seat at home in the southeast. In Finland, yes.
Simon Ekbo.
Simon Ekbo. He lives in Finland and he was ordering a seat at home
holder, hiding under the umbrella of the IPOB.
To order a seat at home. Even he had announced the seat at home during that election, telling people not to come out to vote.
But I think it was reversed again after they made the arrest.
Because he was arrested,
Yeah.
So we're not looking at a situation where certain Nigerians hear that, see that, and they obey to the letter. How much influence really should these kind of people? Yes, we understand the desire to see a better Nigeria. Yes, we understand the zeal, but how much influence really should they have on our thinking process, our ability to decipher what is right from what is wrong? How much influence?
2 points. I get back to my base level. Let's have an egalitarian, equitable, just environment where the rule of law should be seen to be playing out.
Okay.
That is one.
Okay.
Then secondly, we must go beyond book knowledge. Gone to school, I have a degree, proficiency here and there into what I call real deep education. For the man to be able to think beyond what he's told. Thirdly, we must do away with religiosity, where the preachment and the preaching is you do little and then you gain a lot. You run into politics, you know how to maneuver your way around. Society sees that and rewards. And then those who are going through the very narrow path are now shifted back. Simon Ekpa did not start with Simon Ekpa. And let the truth be told. Nnamdi Kanu himself, just like Igboho in the southwest, also got up and they kept on issuing threats. Those issuing of threats happened because they came to plug a lacuna, like lawyers would say, a hole that we don't think we are getting justice, we don't think we are getting equity in a system, so we need to go. And then that takes me back to some of my baseline. That is the structure of Nigeria, the way we are going. Whoever wins this election, including Mr. Peter Obi himself, including Atiku Abubakar, and Jagaban, the president-elect, is coming into a cockpit of an engine already doing quack, 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 and about to knock. Should we really have a restructure in a way and manner that it will make people who don't produce eat less and not the other way around? By way of the restructuring I'm saying. So when all these are not going, and it's gone on for so long, you have no choice but to now get the kind of situation that Simon Ekpa kept on doing. He went beyond that. In fact, during the Nnamdi Kalu's case,
that's one of the stories.
That's one of his tweets. That was 6 days ago.
He kept on running a radio station and was calling his country a zoo and all that. I say was an overreaction to whatever it is perceived. There is no part of Nigeria that is,
you see, exactly,
like it or not marginalized. Again, it has to go through the process. When he was arrested in Finland, and that is the point, when he was arrested, he was questioned. And he was allowed to go home after signing a few undertakings.
And after that, I'll show you exactly what he posted 44 minutes ago. Just 44 minutes ago.
In the Nigerian situation, we went through the process, and somebody was released to come back on bail, and he jumped bail. So he's not working here in Nigeria. And that is one of the reasons why we are having all this jambalaya of confusion that we are having.
Which brings me to someone like Sowore and his media outfit called Sahara Reporters.
Yes.
And some of the things that they post, and some of their reports as well. I mean, I find it difficult to understand how this can be seen as, good for the image of the country, especially when the man in question is looking at becoming president of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. Look at the tweet 44 minutes ago from Simon Ekpa as we begin to round off the conversation. There is a tweet that I saw. It had to do with iPop on autopilot or something, And he put that up just a few minutes ago, just about 1 hour ago again. And I'm looking at tweets that he posted today, in the last 2 hours. Those are the kind of tweets that you keep seeing. This one, it says the Fulanization and the killing is again activated after the general election, where the founder of Boko Haram is vice president-elect. These are tweets that he puts on Twitter, and this is a man that doesn't live in Nigeria. He actually lives in Finland. As you round off, Mr. Fatuke.
The wheel of justice grinds slowly. Like I said, grinds very well, exceedingly very well. And there is absolutely nothing that you sue
that you would not read.
that will not read. Simon Ekpa is again going the way of Nnamdi Kanu. A warning has been given. Yet,
By the country illusion.
yet, you think they are not seeing? You think they are not watching? And if they come heavily,
Like we need to go.
it will now be, whatever it is.
Nigeria has reached
My
out to
point
them.
is, Tomisi, yourself, and Nigeria, we need to engage our youth. We need to communicate. We need to open up and let them see what we are cooking and how we are going to be sharing these things. Equity and fair play.
We need to say thank you to our last guest this morning, Mr. Aki Fatunke. Thank you for joining us on the show. We hit the hour of 10 and we need to go.
Of course. Yeah.
And Mr. Fatunke, thank you so much. We'll see you tomorrow on the Bumper Breakfast. Do have a lovely day. Bye-bye.
All right.